Their love was real, but so were the challenges. This is where we can learn why two people who love each other still couldn't make it work, and what every couple can learn from it. Hi, I'm Dr. Pam, therapist and relationship counselor. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for your thoughtful comments. They mean more to me than you will ever know. And thank you for being part of this growing community. And if you're new here, welcome. I am so passionate about helping you grow, both in your relationships and personally. And if that is something that you would like more of, I'd love for you to subscribe so we can keep growing together. Also, I know that Love is Blind is a heavily edited show. I don't know any of these people personally, and I am not diagnosing anyone. I am simply commenting on what we are shown so that you and I can explore relationship patterns, communication, and emotional dynamics. My goal is never to judge anyone, but to offer you insights that can help you better understand yourself and your relationship. This is a two-part video. In part one, we focused on connections and how they form in the pods, the subtle shifts, emotional safety, and what we can learn from how each person shows up when dating. And in this part two, I'm going to break down Megan and Jordan's relationship after the pods. Okay, let's just dive right in. We're going to pick up with them in Mexico, where everything feels easy, they're playful, connecting, and settling into each other. But their first real challenge shows up at the party. So let's break down what happens.
I would have not at all pegged Anton as a...
You're not gonna peg Anton? I hope not. Holy shit. 5 minutes. Don't peg Anton, don't peg me. Holy shit. You're gonna peg Anton? Let's be more careful with your pegging.
One of the most interesting parts of this experiment is how couples go from total isolation in the pods to subtly encountering each other in real-world contexts that they've never shared before. In Mexico, we see Jordan with his friends, drinking, relaxed, a little silly, and teasing Meg in a way that's likely new for her with Jordan. Seeing him in a different light can create confusion and even a subtle threat. Not threat to safety, but threat to the relationship itself. When you see a side of the person that you're dating that you didn't get to see before in the pods or even in real life in general, it can introduce doubt and leave you wondering how this version of them fits into the connection that you've been building with them. So let's break down what happens next.
You're annoying me.
Am I?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll stop.
You are.
I'll stop, I promise.
I'm so annoying. I am.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll talk about it. And then we're like, what's annoying you? I'll stop, I promise. You got it. Easy peasy?
So it's like 3 hours
No,
later, he's waiting
no.
at his go.
Yeah. Hey,
That's embarrassing.
I'm in trouble.
Obviously, when Jordan says I'm in trouble, he's intoxicated. And Meg is having a hard time with the way he's showing up. And I know I must sound like a broken record because I've said this in other videos, but it's worth repeating. Trying to address relationship issues when one or both people are intoxicated almost always makes things worse. It can escalate, it gets messy, and no one is in a grounded state to actually hear each other. Jordan tries to minimize it with, I'm sorry, I'll stop. But even that shows you neither of them is in a space to work through anything productively. It's a reactive moment, not a reflective one. For Meg, voicing her frustration in front of everyone wasn't ideal.
You're annoying me.
Am I?
Not because she shouldn't have those feelings, she absolutely should, but because that setting doesn't give either of them room to actually understand each other. Waiting, stepping away, or even joining her friends for a bit would have created some breathing room because her need to be heard in that moment was not going to happen.
We tiffed a little bit yesterday too, and she was like, you're annoying me. I was like, oh. Shit. You couldn't have phrased that just a little lighter. It was like a mini gut punch, but I understand I can be annoying, but I wish you would have phrased that just a little more friendly. I was like, if I need someone to beat me down, I got Joe right next to me.
Do you notice what's happening here? Jordan is upset with Meg and he hasn't told her. And again, this isn't the time or the place for them to have that conversation. But it is the perfect example of why waiting to talk is so important. Meg was annoyed with Jordan's behavior, and Meg doesn't know it yet, but Jordan was annoyed with the way Meg approached him when she was annoyed. So now they are both holding something about each other that they are upset with. And when two people are holding irritation they haven't talked about, even small things can create a subtle disconnect. If they don't talk about it later in a calm space, they miss the opportunity to understand the why behind each other's reactions. And that's the part many couples skip. These moments are when you learn how the other person works. What feels playful for one person might feel disrespectful for the other. What feels direct to one person might feel confrontational to the other. That's the information that helps a relationship grow. So yes, both of them have something to repair, something to understand, and something to adjust. And that's the value of talking about it, to learn how to interact in a way that works for both of them.
Today was a lot.
What was a lot, though?
Everything.
Explain.
I mean, seeing... everything.
I don't know. What was a lot? Was like hanging out with Nick that bad?
I will say this, using humor when someone is emotionally upset is a risk. It can soften the moment if the relationship has a foundation of knowing that a meaningful conversation will still happen and the humor is gentle, not mocking. In this case, it happened to land well and may have lightened things just a bit. But humor can backfire when it is used to be dismissive, minimizing, or like the person is trying to avoid the real issue. And that's when a challenging conversation can escalate. One person thinks that they are diffusing tension while the other person feels unseen or unheard.
I want you to be there for me.
Well, what do you need?
I don't know.
No, you can't use the I don't know card. What do you need? I need you to communicate.
Yay, Jordan, for calling Meg out in a gentle way. On not saying what she needs, that was exactly the right move. And yay, Meg, for actually taking in that feedback and being open to it. That kind of moment is small, but it tells a lot about how they are willing to grow together. Because do you remember when Jordan said this in the pods?
You're just like better at communicating. I don't need to be trying to interpret or translate through someone's feelings.
Jordan is aware that he does not want to have to interpret his partner's emotional experience. He values directness. Okay, back to the discussion between them.
I wanted us to be like that power couple and for us to connect. And I feel like everybody else was that and we weren't.
Please don't compare your relationship to someone else's relationship or use another couple as the standard for what yours should look like. That doesn't take a relationship anywhere helpful and rarely brings anything positive. And the truth is, you are comparing your relationship to a relationship you only see from the outside. You don't know their dynamics, their history, their struggles, or the private work that they may be doing. Relationships are already challenging. Adding comparison only adds unnecessary doubt, pressure, and perhaps unrealistic expectations. What matters is understanding your relationship, your patterns, and what helps the two of you work well together. And let's talk about the idea of power couple. What does that mean to a person? Let's see where they go with that.
What? Really? Interesting. Why did you feel that way, though? Like, you felt like Joe and Madison were the power couple.
No. I thought it was all jokes and like you were trying to be funny and fun with the guys, and I get that that's you, but I need you to be there for me.
I'll do better, I promise.
Jordan does a great job of putting the whole power couple idea into perspective, grounding it, making it realistic. But I still have concerns about what power couple means for Meg. It sounds like she's holding a very high, maybe idealized expectation for what their relationship should look like. That kind of pressure can set a couple up to feel like they're failing, even when they are actually doing rather well. And Meg didn't really define what she meant when she said, I need you to be there for me. That's concerning because it's vague. It might feel obvious to her. Maybe she means please don't tease me in front of your friends, but Jordan can't understand it if it isn't clearly communicated. And did you notice the other piece that's missing? Jordan never addressed what bothered him. He didn't tell Meg that he felt she spoke to him harshly in front of everyone. He's keeping that annoyance to himself, so Meg has no idea it even bothered him. And if she doesn't know what bothers him, obviously she can't do anything about it. When small things are not addressed, they slowly turn into resentment, not because the moment was major, but because they never worked it out, and minor moments add up to major ones when they go unaddressed over time. And remember what Jordan said back in the pods?
And drink and laugh and go home and then go to sleep and not argue a single second of the day.
Jordan may not completely avoid conflict. He did engage with Meg when she was upset, but he does seem to avoid bringing his concerns into the relationship. He strikes me as someone who wants tension to be over as quickly as possible, which is understandable, but it comes with a cost. When you don't voice your concerns, two things happen. First, your partner is left powerless because they have no idea what you need or what didn't sit right with you. And two, you unintentionally block their ability to grow inside the relationship because they can't work on something they don't know exists. So while avoiding your own concerns may keep the peace in the moment, it deprives your relationship of clarity, repair, and mutual growth, all the things that help a couple deepen their relationship over time. And Meg shared this with her friends.
No big reason I fell in love with him was for his jokes and like being funny and whatever, but it's like, okay, there's also a time to be serious.
I showed you this because it is so important. It's often the case that what we fall in love with in a person is also the thing that can drive us crazy. Every strength has a flip side, and the person who holds that strength needs to be aware when their own qualities can create challenges in the relationship. So, for example, humor can be a real strength. It lightens the mood, creates connection, and brings ease to the relationship. But the person whose strength is humor also needs to recognize when that same trait might land at the wrong moment or feel dismissive. That awareness is what keeps a strength from becoming a source of friction. So recognize your own strengths, but also be aware when the shadow side shows up so you can use them in ways that support the relationship rather than strain it.
I am very excited for you to meet Luca's mom.
I'm a little nervous, to be honest.
What's there to be nervous about? There's no pressure, I promise. She's gonna love you, I promise. She's gonna love you.
Hey, you say that. I've never done this before.
She's gonna love you. I promise it'll be fine.
I know.
Becoming part of a blended family is challenging. There's no way around that. So I'm not exactly sure why Jordan is so convinced that everything will be fine. On one hand, he clearly recognizes that Meg is taking on a lot.
What I'm asking of you is a huge responsibility, right? Like, I don't need help with Luca, but to just bring you into something like that is like such a huge ask. And so,
But on the other hand, he tells her that there's nothing to worry about and that it will all work out.
it'll be fine.
I know.
I wouldn't have gone to the whole experience if I didn't think it was gonna be fine.
It's a bit of a mixed message. His intention is good. He wants to reassure her and keep things calm, but reassurance without real exploration can actually shut down the deeper conversation that they need to have. Blended families bring layers, roles, boundaries, expectations, loyalty, dynamics, parenting styles, and the emotional impact of stepping into someone else's established world. Those things don't get smoothed over by optimism alone. And they don't need to catastrophize this, but they do need to talk about it more honestly. Understanding what Meg is walking into, what Jordan expects, and how they want to navigate those complexities together is essential. Reassurance is comforting in the moment, but real clarity is what will support them in the long run.
I also don't want to like overstep and like step on your toes. I never want to be in the spot where it's like, oh, Megan, you shouldn't have done that. Or even good things, like you shouldn't have bought him this clothes, like these clothes.
So do it, but don't go crazy, right? Like you don't need to buy him a $100 Lego set.
Yeah.
He will love a $1 toy the same he'll love a $100 toy.
Meg is bringing up valid concerns, and Jordan responds by telling her she doesn't need to spend a lot of money on Luca, that he enjoys experiences and hugs, but the real issue here is bigger than how to engage with Luca. It's about the larger role Meg is stepping into and what that will mean for their future.
Not to scare you, but like Luca's just the first step of the unknown. There's a bunch of unknowns, and we're gonna go through that whole process together, which is like scary and nerve-wracking, but it's also exciting. And again, like I wouldn't want to do any exploring without you.
It's actually really helpful that Jordan acknowledged the fear of the unknown here, and even more helpful that he frames it as something they'll move through together. That is exactly what you want from a partner in a situation like this. Not someone who dismisses the fear and not someone who tries to solve it with quick reassurance, but someone who names it and stays in it with you. Again, I know that Jordan has good intentions when he reassures Meg. However, when you're stepping into something as complex as a blended family, you want two things. First, you want your fear to be seen and validated because the unknown is real. And second, you want a sense that you're not navigating that unknown alone, that your partner is right beside you as you both figure it out together. So let's jump to a different moment with Meg and Jordan and Meg's family. It's a meaningful day for them as they are remembering her father's passing. Let's watch.
I woke up and I was having a very hard day. I was hoping that he would come and comfort me and say like, hey, what do you need? Do you need a hug? And instead of speaking up in that moment and telling him what I need, I held it in. And then later in the morning, it got brought up and he didn't like that I waited. You know, he can't read my mind.
The expectation that your partner should just know what you want is such a common challenge in relationships. I've heard people say, well, if they don't know what I want, I'm not going to tell them. And while that feeling often comes from wanting to feel understood and valued, it sets couples up for hurt and disappointment. Mind reading isn't intimacy, communicating is. When you expect your partner to intuit your needs without you naming them, you're asking them to respond to a version of you that lives in your mind, not in the relationship. And that gap creates misunderstandings, frustration, and eventually distance. Clear, direct communication isn't about demanding. It's about giving your partner the information they need to show up for you in real ways.
This is my first anniversary going through this, so I had just like to be accountable, I put zero thought into like how I was gonna handle this day.
Yeah.
I was just like so tired.
I didn't realize like he is working so much and he misses Luca and all the things, and like that was the first time I really heard like, Megan, I'm giving as much as I can right now.
And this is another important part of a relationship. Sometimes we don't actually know what our partner is carrying. They may be holding worries, stress, or emotional weight they haven't yet voiced. In Jordan's case, he's missing Luca, he's tired from work, and he's still getting to know Meg. That's a lot for one person to carry. When partners don't share what's happening beneath the surface, both end up reacting to incomplete information. One person ends up feeling misunderstood and the other feels overwhelmed, and neither realizes the context shaping the other's behavior. This is why communication isn't just about saying what you need, it's about staying curious about what your partner is going through as well. So next, Jordan asks Meg an excellent question.
What's your favorite thing you've learned about me and your least favorite thing?
That was a really good and vulnerable question for Jordan to ask Meg. She answered that she loves seeing him being such a good dad, and then she shares what she doesn't like.
You're quiet, not super talkative, like then I'm not gonna be.
Does that bother you?
I know you don't like to talk about work, but like, even that's a big part of your life. Like,
It's not as, I don't want to bore you with what I did at work.
but it's not boring me.
I don't know. It's not something I want to talk about.
This is another common dynamic, and here's something to consider. When Meg says that she doesn't like how quiet he is, we are seeing a real difference in how each of them connect. Jordan says he doesn't talk about work because he thinks it will bore her. But underneath that, many men genuinely worry that they will burden their partner by sharing too much about what they go through. Meanwhile, Meg talking about work, the day, the stress, the little things is how she builds closeness. She isn't looking for a report. She's looking for a window into his world, his inner world. I hear this dynamic all the time, and while I don't love generalizing, it's common for men to hold back because they think that they are protecting their partner, while their partner interprets that quietness as distance. This is a place where understanding and compromise can make a huge difference. Jordan may need to open up in small ways, and Meg may need to recognize that his silence isn't rejection, it's habit, emotional wiring, and sometimes an attempt to spare her. Meeting in the middle here could deepen their connection significantly.
Trying to get conversation out of you, it's like, yeah, cool. Or like, yes, no. And it's like, I need more than that. Like, I want a little more stimulation than just a simple one-word answer. Say something.
I don't know what to say.
I'm telling you to give me more.
I know, but I feel like you do it in like an abrasive fashion.
And there it is, the exact concern Jordan did not bring up with Meg after the party. Remember?
It was very abrasive, and I was like, ooh, gosh, I don't like how you said that.
Jordan felt Meg was abrasive when she told him she was annoyed, and because he never shared that with her, she has no way of knowing it bothered him. You can't change something you don't know is upsetting your partner. You have to tell them. Jordan has said more than once that he can't read Meg's mind, and that's true, but the reverse is just as important. She can't read his mind either. If he wants the relationship to grow, he has to bring his concerns into the conversation as well.
How so?
I don't know.
How would you want me to bring
I would
it
like
up?
you to be more compassionate to my situation. Like, I feel like you're telling me I'm not allowed to be tired. Like you said that
I'm not
yesterday.
saying that, Jordan.
You said, I don't like how you always say you're tired.
Because we're both in the same boat. I'm exhausted too.
Jordan does need to say more about what he means when he says that he wants Meg to be more compassionate. It might sound obvious, but it isn't. Compassion can look completely different from one person to the next. For him, does it mean giving him time and space to unwind after work? Does it mean talking about his day with understanding rather than problem solving? Does it mean softer tone, more patience, or something else entirely? This is why it is so important to break down the meaning of the words for you. Broad terms like compassion, support, and connection only work when both people understand what they actually look like in real moments.
Like, I understand you work very hard to like put yourself in this position. I don't want to project, you know, my daily stresses on you because it's not fair to you.
And I've told you, I would love to learn more about your work. Like, I want to learn that side of you.
There it is. Jordan is interpreting his talking about work as something unfair to Meg, while Meg is practically begging him to share that part of himself with her. If I were working with this couple, I would ask Jordan, why do you conclude that sharing what you go through on a day at work would be unfair to her? And I'd ask Meg to say more about how she imagined she would feel if Jordan opened up more to her. Because here's the deeper issue. Jordan wants compassion, but he's not sharing the challenges that he's carrying. That's a hard ask. You can't receive understanding for experiences your partner doesn't know you're having. Jordan needs to share what he needs just the same as he asks Meg to share what she needs from him. Otherwise, you're wanting your partner to support a part of you that isn't put out in the open.
Sometimes I just want to like sit next to you and watch a movie. that's a deal breaker for you, or?
It's not a deal breaker if it's like every now and again, but I struggle with that, especially when our whole relationship in the pods was based off of conversation. I fell in love with you because of your jokes and like what we talked about, and that it was fun and easy. And then to go from that to like almost nothing.
For Jordan, decompressing and connecting means simply being with Meg, sitting together, watching TV, sharing quiet space. For Meg, that's okay once in a while, but that isn't how she feels emotionally connected. She needs conversation, sharing, and hearing about each other's inner world. This is a classic difference in how people bond. One person connects through presence, the other through dialogue. Neither is wrong, but without understanding this difference, each partner can mistakenly believe the other isn't trying. The work is learning how to meet in the middle so both ways of connecting can exist.
Yeah, this is in the pods. That's my goal, to get to a place one day where I don't have to exert myself to the level I do at work, but like it's a super demanding job. The last thing I want to do after a long day is have an abrasive conversation or feel like you're not appreciating me.
Jordan is really struggling with what he sees as an abrasive conversation because remember, this is the place that he comes from.
I want to be able to go and pop a bottle of champagne with my wife and drink and laugh and go home and then go to sleep and not argue a single second of the day.
Jordan really values quiet moments together. He even describes his ideal evening, popping a bottle of champagne with his wife, going home, being intimate, and then going to sleep together. I edited out the specific word he used for sex, but you get it. What's important here is that he wants closeness without conflict. He wants connection, calm, and ease at the end of the day, not arguments or heavy conversations.
I hear you.
I don't think you do hear me though, that's the problem. Like I tell you I'm tired and you don't listen. Just feel like I'm getting shit on for being tired and I don't think that's fair. I don't know. I'm gonna be tired for forever. I need you to be like my backbone.
Jordan is clearly showing that he is so overwhelmed by his job and by his life. There's a weight on him that he hasn't fully unpacked, and that's important to understand. I would want to ask him, what is it that Meg brings that makes you feel shit on? Because that feeling doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from an interpretation he's making. And understanding that interpretation is really important. And it's a lot to say, I might be tired forever. That's not just exhaustion. He sounds like he is completely depleted. I would want to explore what that actually means for him. Is it burnout, feeling unsupported, feeling stuck, something else? And when he says he needs Meg to be his backbone, I would ask him to define, what does backbone look like in a relationship? Is it emotional steadiness, practical support, patience, reassurance? Because asking a partner to be your backbone is a big ask, and without clarity, it can easily turn into pressure or misunderstanding. The insight here is this. Jordan is asking for things he hasn't fully named, and he's feeling things that he hasn't fully understood. Without exploring what those needs actually mean, both of them can end up trying to navigate through guesswork, and guesswork is where relationships get challenging.
You are always tired, that's fine. Like I'm telling you there's anything wrong with it. I'm not sure that's what I thought this was gonna be like. And I get your job is more taxing. I get you have Luca. I'm just trying to have conversations with you and maybe...
Well, maybe like what I need is just a little bit of recharge time.
He needs recharge time. That's a starting point in expressing his need. He may need to say more about exactly what that looks like for him. Does he need a half hour of quiet time after work and then he is able to engage? He said that Meg needs to compromise with him. I didn't show you that, but they need to decide together what compromise looks like for the two of them.
I'm talking to people 10 hours a day at work.
But like I'm not talking to that many people.
Do you want a job?
They do a good job of inserting and welcoming humor in tense moments. So Meg continues to express that she wants Jordan to share his day with her, and then she says this.
I want you to ask how my day was.
I didn't ask how your day was.
I know, but like I know my needs. I'm constantly on the go. Like I'm going to play tennis, I'm doing these things. I could be in LA Tuesday through Thursday, then I could want to go up to Aspen with my friends for a couple days, and then we get back and we go to happy hour one night. I would love for you to be joining me on some of that sometimes.
Clearly, they are trying to blend two very different lifestyles. It does seem like Meg has more freedom than Jordan, but here's the important part. No one is wrong. I really like to take the idea of right and wrong out of a relationship conversation because it gets couples nowhere. When you make it about being right or winning, you actually create a loser in the conversation. I often tell couples, if one person loses the argument, you both lose. The real goal is to come out of the conversation with a deeper understanding of each other. Some attempts at compromise and hopefully a sense of connection. None of that happens if one person walks away feeling defeated or wrong.
I like to go to nice restaurants often.
Like, I like fancy restaurants too.
It would be so fun for me to see you like court me in a sense. Like that's very important to me, to have a man who goes through the effort and the steps to plan a nice date, to hey, I saw this card, made me think of you. You say you like nice restaurants, but we have no clue. Like, it's like, what does he like to do? He works, he has Luca, he goes to the gym.
Meg is bringing in the lifestyle that matters to her, wanting to be courted, as she says, and she doesn't fully understand what Jordan enjoys doing. Even though she isn't using shaming language, it would be easy for Jordan to slip into feeling shame because it can sound like she's saying that he is failing her. But what she's really trying to communicate is that she doesn't feel connected to him, and she longs for more moments that help her feel close to him.
You didn't fall in love with me because of my hobbies. I could do any of your hobbies and have fun. I just don't have time. I don't want you to feel like you have to like take a step down a social class or whatever to marry me or whatever. But you said it yourself in the pods, you didn't want this to be about money. All those other guys that were like crazy rich business guys who you probably did all those things with never worked out. That's why you picked me.
I think both of them are actually starting to get a little scared here, just in different ways. Meg is afraid that she'll have to give up the lifestyle that she worked so hard to create. And Jordan is afraid that because he doesn't have the same time or financial freedom that Meg has, he could lose her. They are each holding very real fears, and those fears are fueling this conversation, even if they are not saying them out loud. And then, sadly, the breakup happens. So let's break that down. Meg starts by saying that they are very different and that their lifestyles don't match. And Jordan responds by asking her this question.
Yeah, I just don't know why you chose me in the pods then.
Jordan, I just didn't realize how rigid it truly was.
Yeah, I told you you would have to make sacrifices to be with me and Luca.
You know, in part one of my video, I said that Meg was really opening herself up to Jordan because he isn't someone that she would normally go for, and she fell in love with him anyway. She even says that he is very easy to love.
You're very easy to love. And I think initially I leaned into opposites attract, but I just still have reservations. You know, it's not how I should be feeling going into my wedding.
I think Meg genuinely hoped that because she had chosen poorly in the past, by choosing someone different this time would lead to a different kind of relationship. It's that feeling of maybe if I choose outside my pattern, I can finally get the love I've been wanting.
And I'm sorry for
what?
For not feeling more compassion for you and understanding and giving you what you needed in a fiance. Yeah, I can't do this, Jordan.
I choke up very easily. This breakup is genuinely heartbreaking because they do love each other. That part at least appears very real to me. What they couldn't do was make their lives compatible. And that's important This didn't end because of lack of love. It ended because Meg couldn't give up the life that she worked very hard to build in order to fit into Jordan's life. And Jordan couldn't change his circumstances to match hers. And neither of them is wrong for that. They are simply two people whose realities don't line up in a way that allow the relationship to thrive. That's what makes this kind of ending so heartbreaking. I want to say one more thing about what each of them took away from this breakup. Let's watch.
I didn't think we were different at all. I think the only thing, just the lifestyle difference, is she has enough money to live the rest of her life without ever working again, and I don't. I think if I had enough money that I didn't really have to work, I think we would be getting married. I feel like she doesn't love me for me, and that's the closure I need.
Jordan is concluding that Meg doesn't love him for who he is, and that's understandable. It's very hard to separate someone's life circumstances from the person themselves. But while Meg did express concerns about their lifestyle differences, she wasn't taking issue with who he was as a person. She was actually trying to find ways to connect and feel closer to him. But you can't deny that lifestyle differences were a major challenge as well. It's easy to assume you're not loved when someone ends a relationship, but I think the opposite is true here. I think ending it made Meg question herself more than she questioned her love for Jordan. This wasn't about a lack of love. It was about the reality that love alone couldn't bridge the gap between them.
In the pods, I was really leaning into him being a single father, the excitement of it. But I don't think I thought through how challenging it is and how I would need to make a lot of concessions to how I currently live. I mean, maybe I'm just not cut out to be a stepmom. Honestly, this has me questioning if I'm even cut out to be a mom.
I have to wonder whether seeing Jordan as such a devoted, hands-on dad had an impact on Meg. It may have stirred something in her, the desire to be a mom and the desire to keep the life she's built for herself. Wanting both is completely understandable. And that's what makes this breakup so heartbreaking and complex. It isn't that she didn't love him, and it isn't that she didn't admire the father that he is. It's that she couldn't reconcile the version of life he has with the version of life she has worked for and imagined for herself. Sometimes two good people can love each other deeply and still realize that the path forward asks more than either of them can give. Okay, that is a wrap for today. Make sure to come back next week because I am breaking down Allie and Anton's relationship when I will talk about the reason Allie said no and it started long before the altar. See you next time.